Emmett Ashford is really an icon in baseball. Emmett Ashford was the first African-American umpire selected in Major League Baseball. Here's a man that had an objective and then didn't let anything stop him from accomplishing his goal.
From a filmmaker's perspective, Called Up is a very interesting story because it closely examines how Emmett Ashford became professional baseball's first black umpire, while he toiled in the minor leagues for 15 long years before finally being called up to the major leagues in 1966.
Well, Emmett Ashford was a flamboyant sort. I mean, he brought in the new moves to calling a man out on strikes or safer out. I mean, he was a very emotional guy, and he was unlike the standard umpire.
I personally don't recall any lengthy film about an umpire. Is this the first?
As far as I know, this is the first time anyone's produced a documentary film about an umpire or any type of official. And I thought that this would really be an interesting look to find out what went into the progression of the first African-American decision maker in professional sports.
Emmett's road in his career, and certainly to the major leagues, was not an easy road by any means. In fact, I think you could draw a parallel between Emmett and Jackie Robinson.
In 1961, I got to work with Emmett. I was on the same crew with him. When we traveled, we would stop on the road and everybody would get out and order a hamburger or something, and Emmett was not invited to come to the front door. He came in and they walked right up to him and told him, back door.
Jackie Robinson integrates Major League Baseball in 1947, and it takes 20 years till 1966 before Emmett Ashford is able to be an umpire in Major League Baseball.
In his very first Major League Baseball game, he arrives at the game, and one of the security guards doesn't believe that he's an actual umpire and wouldn't let him in the stadium in Washington, D.C. A great thing about our documentary film project, Called Up, is my partner, Doug Harris. Doug Harris is a filmmaker extraordinaire.
I'm a big fan of some of your work, and had you not known you were watching a Doug Harris production, I could mention a couple to you. Glenn Burke, you did the story about the former Dodger and A's outfielder Glenn Burke called Out, which many people might have seen. The Don Barksdale story, Pete Newell, and now Emmett Ashford.
The great thing about Doug Harris's films are they're educational. They bring awareness to pioneers in sports that have been overlooked. They bring an educational value. Doug regularly conducts lectures at universities here on the West Coast. He goes in and actually interacts with the students of how to be a successful filmmaker and give people the understanding of what he does and actually extend himself to them as far as the knowledge of filmmaking.
Our executive producer for the Called Up documentary, Raymond Bell, is a longtime television sports producer in the Los Angeles market. And over the years, he's won several Emmy Awards for his work as a producer. In my many years of working closely with Raymond, we've developed a close synergy behind the camera to bring these compelling documentary stories to full life.
Well, look, Joe and I are huge baseball fans. We appreciate the history. We grew up loving the game. And I think this is a real important piece of work to get done.
Now that you have a clear understanding of what this documentary is all about, we're kindly asking for your help and support to help our team get this documentary completed through funding assistance for travel, lodging, and production of the remaining key interviews. All of the post-production editing for the documentary, errors and omissions insurance for the television broadcast. And lastly, the funds needed to secure the licenses for all the archival film and photographs we'll need to bring this compelling story to life for PBS viewers in each of the 30 Major League Baseball television markets.
Called Up, the Emmett Ashford story, is an important film because it talks about Emmett Ashford's dream of overcoming an obstacle that's set in front of him that many people can face, whether it's racism, whether it's actually going for a goal that no one says you can achieve. This is something to educate people about how you can have a desire, a dream, and reach for it and attain it.
For all of you to share our support for this great American baseball story, we'd like to thank you for helping us with our Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign.